And now you can see the Backseat Mogul Show in all its video glory on our YouTube page at roughedge.tv.
Rough Edge FM at roughedgefm.com.
There's no better place for breakfast or lunch than Harbor Cove Cafe. This hidden treasure, located in the beautiful Ventura Harbor, is locally owned and operated and serves your favorites like hamburgers, sandwiches, and fish and chips, as well as island specialties like their delicious Loco Moco and famous Hawaiian burrito. Enjoy the magnificent view of Ventura's famous Two Trees and the Topa Topa Mountains while you sip on something from their full espresso bar, or perhaps tip back a cocktail mixed up by the legendary Dazu Prime. For more information, please visit online at harborcovecafe.net or give them a call at 805-658-1639. Harbor Cove Cafe, located at 1867 Spinnaker Drive in the Ventura Harbor. We'll see you there.
Showbiz is a cruel and shallow money trench, a long plastic hallway where thieves and pimps run free and good men die like dogs for no good reason. There's also a bad side.
This is the Backseat Mogul Show live here on Rough Edge FM. I am R. Scott Bolton. I am the Backseat Mogul, and this is the show where we talk about show business. It's just me today, folks. Johnny D is off in Texas, I believe. He's taking a road trip, as you may have heard in previous shows. He's going to Texas, to Oklahoma, and to Missouri. So he's going to be back probably at the end of June. But until then, you got just me. And today is going to be a bit of a short show. I just got a few things I want to talk to you about. As you can probably tell from my voice, I've got a bit of a cold. So that kind of sucks. It kind of takes the vibe out of everything. And I'm going to do maybe 20, 30 minutes instead of the usual hour here, just because I ain't feeling so hot. So, colds suck. It kind of ruins everything. So we're going to start today with the big news. There was a big surprise last night, and I don't know how it stayed a surprise or why it stayed a surprise, but nobody knew this was going to happen until yesterday. By nobody, I mean, obviously not the parties involved, but Godzilla Minus One, the Academy Award-winning motion picture, the second best Godzilla movie ever made, in my opinion, is now available on Netflix and other streaming networks. Netflix, it's included if you're a subscriber, and the other networks are selling it. The streaming networks are selling it from ever $3.99 to $5.99 to $19.99. So you can finally see Godzilla Minus One. Got my Godzilla shirt on in celebration of Godzilla Minus One. It's just a terrific movie overall. It's not just a great Godzilla movie. It's a great movie, and it deserved more than the Oscar it got. Got the Oscar for Best Special Effects, all done by the director, and it deserved more. It's that good of a film. So check it out this weekend if you get a chance. I mean, after you go to the theater and see Furiosa, it's tanking again this weekend, folks, and I just don't understand it. It is a terrific, amazing movie by a terrific, amazing filmmaker, George Miller. So please go see Furiosa in a theater and enjoy it the way it's meant to be enjoyed. And again, I think part of the problem, there's been a lot of arguments about why Furiosa is tanking. And one of them is that, it's not the young person's heroes. Their heroes are not James Bond, Indiana Jones, or Mad Max. Their heroes are whoever their modern heroes are, probably anime characters somebody suggested to me. So that's one reason. The second reason is because it's post-apocalyptic and it's depressing, and we're close enough to that already. So people don't want to go see that in theaters. The third reason is, and this is also one that I tend to believe, is that it's a female lead, and people just aren't ready for female leads in action movies, which is kind of funny because right now there's one on Netflix starring Jennifer Lopez, called Atlas, and it's not bad. I mean, it's silly as all get out, but it's a lot of fun. And it's, I believe, the number one movie on Netflix right now. That's going to change with Godzilla Minus One being on there. I think it came on at midnight last night, and I think my son stayed up and watched it. but I'll have to check with them on that and see if that's actually happened. But you can actually see Godzilla Minus One. And the other thing about it is it's featured in a Japanese and a dubbed English version. Now, as far as I know, the dubbed English version hasn't existed until now. And I always thought instead of releasing that black and white version that they did to extend the box office originally, they should have released an English language version. See, that's why I'm going to stop this soon. Instead, because I think more people would have watched it if it had been in English language. But anyway, that's the big news. Godzilla Minus One is out. Furiosa still in theaters. Looks like Garfield's going to beat it this week. What's that about? I don't get it. I have a mute button here. I'm going to start using it. Anyway, that's the big news. Godzilla Minus One also available on Amazon, YouTube, all kinds of other places for a fee. You got to pay for it. Netflix, it's included with your subscription. So 2 movies I highly recommend this weekend. Godzilla Minus One, of course, on Netflix, and Furiosa in theaters. So go see those movies. Next week, there's going to be a good test. Next week, we have Bad Boys 4 opening. And so far, they're predicting the box office will open somewhere between $50 and $55 million. What's the catch to that? It's pretty much what they thought Furiosa would open to. So we'll see if Bad Boys 4 is immune from the box office drought here, or if it's going to be affected by it as well. Sony says they're very encouraged by it. They think that they'll do okay with it, but time will tell. We'll see what happens next weekend. The only movie that may be immune to the box office drought is Deadpool Wolverine, because it's not only is it being well marketed, it's a film that a lot of people have waited a long time for, and the 2 cast members are just terrific in the way they're doing the promotion. I think that that's the one film that will do very well this weekend. Anyway, Godzilla Minus One on Netflix, Furiosa in theaters. Please go see them. Let me see what else I can tell you about here. Have you heard of the band The Pretty Reckless? I'm sure you have. Let me post this picture of the band. This is their last album. That's not their last album. The Pretty Reckless, Going to Hell. That's a recent album. Their most recent album, I believe, is Death by Rock and Roll. Now I'm starting to concern myself. Was that a single from that album? Regardless, Taylor Momsen is the lead singer of that band. Great band, by the way. I highly recommend you check them out. And the band is opening for AC/DC on their much anticipated European tour. That's, of course, selling out all across Europe. And they chose separate acts to open for certain dates. So the Pretty Reckless got a number of the dates for Europe. Taylor was on stage, and a little bat came down and bit her on the ankle. We don't know if Ozzy sent it or what, but an actual bat came down on stage and bit her on the ankle during a live performance. She finished the show. She said it didn't really bother her that much, but of course the bat flew away. So what happens to Taylor now? She has to get tested for rabies, and she has to have not just tested for rabies, she has to have the rabies treatment, which is several weeks of, I don't know that it's injections anymore. I think that there's a pill now that they do for the rabies virus. It used to be you had like 7 or 8 weeks of needles. And that's why people avoided trying, with animals that might have rabies, like the plague, which you should do anyway, by the way, not recommending you pet anything that could have rabies. But she has to go undergo treatment for it. Now, they didn't say whether it was the needles or if it was pills. But either way, she's going to have treatment for it because that bat bit her and then flew off. So they can't test the bat. The only way you can test, and again, do I look like a medical professional? No. But my understanding is the only way that you can test whether a bat has rabies or anything has rabies is it has to be dead, because you have to destroy the brain in order to discover whether or not the rabies are present or not. So that bat flew away. Nobody knows if it's got rabies or not. Nobody knows if Taylor's been exposed to rabies. So Taylor has to undergo the rabies shot. It's nice that she's got a bat story now, because, one of Ozzy's best stories is the bat story. And there's a billion versions of it, of course, and everything from it happened live on stage to it happened in an executive boardroom. I always wonder which one's the truth. It doesn't matter. It's a great story about Ozzy biting the head off a bat. Whether he actually did that or not is up for debate. But now Taylor has her own bat story as well. So I forgot to show you this image. This is Godzilla from Godzilla Minus One. He is a mean, nasty Godzilla. He's a scary Godzilla. This is not the Godzilla you saw in Godzilla Kong. This is a different evil Godzilla. And excuse me, you'll see that when you see the movie. He's actually a little scary at times, and he's malevolent. which is different than a lot of Godzilla movies. That's Godzilla from Godzilla Minus One. All right, what else we got in the news today? Hacks, which is one of my favorite shows on television, has been renewed for season 4. Season 3 just ended. It's won tons of Emmys for its performers, and it's a terrific show. It's about a comic, as you can see there. Deborah Vance is her name. I had to look that up. And she's, trying to revive her career. She's trying to get a show that's kind of like The Tonight Show. I think it's supposed to be The Tonight Show. So she's trying to get that show. So she's going out on the tour circuit. She's retuned her works thanks to this young lady who's working with her. And she's getting more and more popular. She wants this show. And finally, you'll see what happens. I'm not going to ruin the season 3 finale. But season 4 is coming. I'm not surprised. Hacks is one of HBO's most, nope, it's Max. Biggest mistake they ever made. When they went to their streaming service, don't you think it should have been called HBO? Not Max? Max sounds like Cinemax. Max. So anyway, it's not on HBO. Actually, it probably is because the channel, it's the video cable channel is still up there. But the streaming channel is Max. And I highly recommend that show. It is terrific in many, many ways. And Hacks is great. Been renewed for season 4. I hope they can maintain the quality. And based on what I've seen, they can maintain the quality. So good news about Max being returned for season 4. And finally today, I told you it's going to be a short show. Throw all that stuff. But this is good news too. Jeremy Renner has returned to mayor of Kingstown. His first appearance was apparently just recently, this first episode of the new season. And I saw Jeremy on a talk show, and he was talking about his horrible accident. And if you haven't gone into the depths of what happened to that man, you need to read on it because it was crazy. He was literally torn apart, was dead for a matter of seconds before they were able to revive him. And now when you see him, he looks perfectly 100% recovered. There's no sign of a limp. There's no sign of any slowing down. He's still got that same chipper, energetic, outgoing personality. And I'm sure, I haven't seen anything recently, but I'm sure that his work is as good as it's ever been, if not better. He said that one of the things he discovered during his recovery was, one, focus. He learned to focus on the things he needed to focus on and to leave everything else in the background. And the description he gave the host of the television show, he said, for example, I'm here with you now. My focus is this. I'm not thinking about anything else out there. I'm just thinking about this moment. Then I'll go somewhere else and he'll focus on that moment. The other thing he said that was interesting, and this will give you an idea of the breadth of his accident. He said that they asked him if he had noticed any changes from before the accident to today when he's recovered from the accident. And he said, only one. The sight in my eye is better than it was before the accident. And he goes, and that's the eye that popped out and was laying on my cheek. Yeah, that's how bad that accident was. I am very impressed by Jeremy Renner's recovery. He does have the benefit of having the best doctors and people in the world helping him. And that's good for him. Good that he can afford that kind of stuff. But it also takes a lot more than that. It takes a lot of concentration and focus to get better. And one of the things he said was when he was in the early days of the hospital, they told him that his daughter was coming to see him in the hospital. And he looked at them and he said, I have a daughter. The accident was so brutal that it had knocked his memory of her out. Momentarily, it came back, and they brought her in a little later. And she, of course, he could tell by her face, she was just destroyed because there's her father laying there, torn to pieces, held together by tape. And he said it broke his heart. And he told her, sweetheart, wait for me, and I promise you I'll get better. And that's what he kept to his heart the whole time he continued to improve. And to look at him now, he's the Jeremy Renner before the accident. And I just admire the hell out of the guy for being able to do that. I think that's quite impressive. And I love the reasons that he did it. So more power to you, Jeremy Renner. Always liked the guy anyway. Always seems like a nice guy. He's terrific in movies. But he was almost dead. We almost lost him. And he's recovered nicely now. And as I said, back on Mayor of Kingstown, which is on Paramount Plus. Okay, so just quick recap for today. We talked about Godzilla Minus One, which is now available on Netflix if you're a subscriber, also available on other channels if you want to pay for it. I've seen it anywhere from $5.99 to $19.99. So choose wisely. But you definitely need to see Godzilla Minus One. We also talked about Pretty Reckless and how Taylor Momsen, the lead singer for the band, got bitten by a bat when she was on stage opening for AC/DC and now has to undergo the rabies treatments. Don't know the intensity of those rabies treatments, but Taylor, best of luck. Please get better. The album, all their albums are terrific, and I imagine their live performances are great as well. And we also talked about Hacks, which has been renewed for its fourth season. It's an Emmy Award-winning show on Max, and one of the best shows on television with terrific performances and very well-written scripts. And we briefly talked about Furiosa. Please go see it in theaters. It's the best place to see this movie by far. It's one of those movies that later on you're going to watch it on streaming or on Blu-ray, if Blu-ray's still around then. And you're going to say, why didn't I go to the theater to see that? You're going to be sorry. So go check out Furiosa. All right, folks, that's only 15 minutes in, but I'm going to call it a day. Sorry. I'm going to go home and have chicken soup and maybe some cask strength whiskey to burn this thing out of me. That'll be great. So we will see you not next week. Next week, I will be out of town, so there'll be no show next week. We're actually going to San Diego to meet the in-laws. My son's getting married in October, and we're going down to San Diego to meet the in-laws. So no show next week. We'll have a show the following week. Johnny won't be back for a while, but we're going to have some special guests. We're going to have Travis Greer come in. He's an actor, writer, director, talking about his movies. We'll have Travis in. We'll have Steve Snyder join us. Steve is a longtime writer for roughedge.com and has done several shows with us here. He's been on the Backseat Mogul show before. He'll be joining us. And then Johnny will be back sometime, I would imagine late June, early July, because he's got a lot of traveling to do. So we will be back, just not next week. So if something cool happens, send us a note, would you? roughedgestudios@gmail.com, and we'll talk about it the following week. So thanks as always for watching. Thanks as always for listening. And we'll see you all in a couple of weeks. Have a good day. Go see Furiosa. Brought to you by The Grape, Ventura County's premier jazz venue and cocktail lounge, located at 2733 East Main Street in Ventura. For menu and music schedule, visit them online at thegrape.club. This has been a Rough Edge Studios production.